So hey anime fans. The series name is What If Naruto Got Harem with My Little Ponytail. So let's start the series. Just call for the toad, he said. It'll be simple. Keep it up while I do research. I don't even know what's so great of some toads that it's so important that I summon them, he said. In the middle of the steaming pool was a blonde teen with spiked hair who was sitting in a meditative position, wearing black shorts, a metal headband on blue fabric, his weapon pouch, and a blue aura with a tint of violet and scarlet closest to himself. He had been attempting to call forth a toad larger than a tadpole for the past few hours, but had little luck. Each time he tried, the violet aura around him grew and the blue shrank. After hours of trying, the blue color was now entirely replaced with an equal amount of violet and scarlet-colored energy. His most recent attempt was a complete failure, so he made the bold decision to devote all of his and someone else's core energy to one last try. I, boar Inu, dog Tori, bird, Saru, monkey, Hitsuji, ram, summoning spirit art, he cried as he pushed all of his core energy into the day's last summoning attempt. In a different universe, the technique would have been successful, and a toad drinking sake would have greeted him. Unfortunately, he used the sign Tora, tiger, instead of Hitsuji, which would normally have caused the spirit art to fail and leave him without any safely usable core energy for a while. However, the Gojo Fuin tampered with his core energy, and the forcing of all available core energy through the seal caused an extreme imbalance. Trouble arises from the transdimensional movement of living objects, strong demonic energy, and an Uzumaki's core energy, a forcefully opened inhibitor driven by the god of death, and an exhausted Naruto Uzumaki. The only indication that the Uzumaki had been there was a pile of his garments near the pool's edge, and a ripple of water on the surface of the hot springs. Naruto felt a powerful pull on himself, and a cloud of smoke encircling him, unlike a toad that appears in a puff of smoke. When the blonde opened his eyes, he saw a kaleidoscopic array of flashing lights from all ends of the spectrum, and he saw himself from a tertiary perspective. He soon felt a prickling sensation through every hair on his body, followed by an unseen force that pulled him in all directions, forcing him to stretch far beyond human limits, and then compress to nearly atomic levels before he was returned to roughly his original size. He could feel his entire skeletal structure changing and rearranging, his spine shrinking, with his maxilla and mandible extending outwards, and a softly blunted bone with a spiral pattern from his forehead that extended the length of the protrusion starting just above his headband. His shoulders made his arms and hips move 90 degrees from their normal positions, and his legs and hips aligned on an invisible plane. His elbows were under a lot of pressure before they inverted to match his knees. From each limb, keratin material sprouted from their ends, fusing together to form a crescent shape, followed by a long section of connected vertebrae and tissue originating from his coccyx. Next, a lot of orange hairs covered every available area of his altered physique, from his snout to the tip of his black tail. On the nape of his neck, his blonde hair fell from his scalp to form a mane behind him. His face was marked by 3 identical whisker marks, and the Hak no Fuin Shiki, a trigram seal, on both sides of his hair-covered posterior, with the weapon pouch attached to his right back leg. He chose to take a brief break after realizing that the physical burden on him was over. For some reason, his eyes felt very heavy. The tired blonde tried to get up, but his center of mass rested in a different spot because of the altitude, and the lateral difference caused him to stumble forward and catch himself. "Hey! Who the hey are you? Do any of you girls know who this is?" A sharp feminine pierced his sleep. Naruto attempted to ask, "W, what's going on?" but his voice was slurred. the same voice asked. What's going on is we were about to follow Twilight to the library and find out who Nightmare Moon is. As he raised his head to see a cyan horse with rainbow-colored hair flapping her wings several meters above the ground. Below her was an orange mare with blonde hair and a cream-white ponytail with curling purple hair, a horn sticking out from the left side, and a spiraling purple tail. In front of the group, separating him from the herd, was a light purple horse with a blunt horn sticking out of her dark purple and pink-streaked hair and matching tail. On her back was a small sleeping, purple dragon. A bright yellow mare with pink hair covering the right side of her face, and an overall shy demeanor, was now visible from behind the orange mare. A pink pony with a puffy pink mane and tail stood opposite her, exuding a sense of friendliness and happiness. Both appeared to be staring at him, with the yellow-furred one quietly observing him from behind the orange mare. The less spiky blonde said more clearly, who's cough, who's Nightmare Moon, and why are you all horses? Because he was more aware of the pastel-colored horses above and in front of him. As she gazed directly at the enigmatic blonde, the pony wearing a Stetson hat said, First of all, you're all horse too, you know? And second, we prefer ponies. We are the ponies of Ponyville. Now you're going to answer our question. How have you happened to fall from the sky when Nightmare Moon just happened to make her escape? As he attempted to reach up and straighten his headband to keep his bangs in place, he boasted, I'm no horse. My name's Uzumaki, and I'm a human from Hyde Village Geikir no Sato, one of the best ninjas you'll ever meet. But instead, he saw the hoof he was certain he was only dreaming about. The rainbow-colored mare rolled her eyes at him and scoffed. Yeah, right. Humans really seem to look exactly like unicorns, but that's just crazy. Naruto angrily shook his thigh hoof at her, promising, Hey! I may not be in my peak condition, but I'm not above socking a mouthy horse in her snout. As she stomped her hooves and Rainbow Dash cracked her neck in an attempt to intimidate him, the orange pony explained, Oh yeah! Bring it, you Dash! Cool it, Rainbow Dash! This guy's just trying to make you mad. Listen, her bucko, we don't have time for your shenanigans, so you can either come with us or we'll make ya. In contrast to before, the new person appeared to consider the responses carefully rather than responding hastily, and he ultimately nodded. Naruto gestured to the fluffy pink pony and said, Okay, I'll come, but Pinky over there has to follow me at the rear of the group. The orange pony asked the pink pony, Do you mind, Pinky? It seems like we're the only ones who can move this along. The pink pony nodded. Okie dokie Loki. Let's go then. Naruto asked them, So her name is Pinky? I was kinda just saying that because she is pink. While Pinky trailed behind the herd, and he stood in front of her. The cotton candy maned pony said, Yep, my name's Pinkamena Diane Pie, but my friends call me Pinkie Pie. As the trio made their way to the library in question. Knowing that the others were listening to his response, he said to her, So what should I call you then? I just realized that I haven't introduced myself, so you can call me Uzumaki. Rainbow Dash soared past his head, asking, Naruto? What kind of name is that? Before she could respond, Twilight unlocked the door and led them all into the library. Oh yeah, and Rainbow Dash is totally a real name, she said. As her horn started to glow purple and several books floated from their places to her to see, the purple horse gave the order. You two can argue over names after we stop the world from ending. Now everyone spread out and look for anything with the elements of harmony on it. My research said that the elements have the power to deal with Nightmare Moon and might be our only way on defeating her. Pinky asked him, You can call me Pinky Naruto. Every pony in Ponyville is my friend. So where's Hyde Village? I'd never heard of any pony from there. Everyone in the room, with the exception of the sleeping dragon that was resting on a bed, appeared to be listening to him. The blonde clarified, looking down at his hooves. I've never heard of Ponyville or seen any ponies like you girls, so it must be pretty far from here. Pinkie Pie gave Twilight a book called The Elements of Harmony, a reference guide. In response to her question, it must be really far because I've never heard of the Hyde Village dialect, but let's focus on finding the elements first. The purple pony used her magic to open the book and began searching for anything helpful. Where'd you find this, Pinkie? I've been looking everywhere for this, she questioned. Pinkie's response appeared to temporarily deflate her before she returned her attention to the book. I found it under Twilight. All right, it says here that there are 6 elements, with kindness, laughter, honesty, loyalty, and generosity being the only known ones. The elements were last known to reside in the 2 princesses' castle in what's currently the Everfree Forest, Twilight said with a collective gasp. The herd nodded in agreement as the whiskered pony asked, I take it the Everfree Forest is dangerous or something? This time, the yellow pony stood in the open, somewhat concealed by her mane. The yellow pony subtly added, the Everfree Forest is full with many creatures from Timberwolves to Urses. None would take to kindly to any ponies entering their homes, in a manner that made him to feel comfortable around a blue-haired Hyuga. Twilight put on her saddlebag and stuffed the book into the left side, explaining, Thank you all for your help, girls. But if you excuse me, I have to go and grab the elements. I tried to stop this from happening, and now I have to save the princess before this while I still can. As Twilight used her magic to open the door, and the herd followed, the orange mare said, Now hold on, Sugarcube. There's no way we're gonna let our friend go off to the forest alone. So every pony saddle up. We're going to the Everfree Forest to save Princess Celestia. The orange mare shoved the struggling stallion out of the doorway. Why do I have to go? I have no clue what's going on. I have no clue on what is half of your names are, or why you have those marks on your butts. Rumps? Thigh? Never mind that. But how did Twilight open that door? What do the elements do? Who's Nightmare Moon and who is Celestia? I've just shown up far away from my home with less than 24 hours until I'm supposed to fight, and I don't have a clue on where I am. Naruto began to scream in anger. As Pinkie helped him stand up, Twilight explained to him, Okay, Naruto, if what you said is true, then probably the only person who can help you is Princess Celestia. But the only way you'll be able to meet her is if you help us find the elements of harmony and save Princess Celestia from Nightmare Moon's grasp. So you'll just have to follow us and find the elements. They then followed the group towards the foreboding forest. As the herd left the city and entered the woodland, the teen with the whiskers requested the girl with the cotton candy theme, Pinkie, could you explain a couple things to me? Pinkie patted the side of her head and said, Sure. What you want to know? I'm no smarty pants like Twilight, but I've got some brains inside my noodle. As the 5 in front of them began talking about the Everfree Forest they had entered, the blonde rambled. Okay, so what's the names of the orange, yellow, and cream-colored ponies? What's with the marks on your rear ends? What's the significance of Princess Celestia? Who's Nightmare Moon, and how did Twilight open the door? That's easy. She's Applejack. The fancy one is Rarity, and the shy one is Fluttershy. She's easy to remember her name cause she's shy. The marks are called cutie marks. They represent when a pony discovers something important about their future or themselves. Mine's balloons because I love partying. Like when I meet a new friend, Applejack got hers because her family grows apples, and Twilight got hers from stargazing or something. It's magic, Pinkie. Right. Now we need Princess Celestia to come back because she makes the sun and moon rise. Right now, that Mina Nightmare Moon decided to be a grumpy bum, and when this night will last forever, we were supposed to watch the princess raise the sun with her magic, which is different from what Twilight used to open the door like all unicorns, while Pegasi fly and Earth ponies work the land. Pinkie concluded and permitted him to ponder the details. So your government is run by a monarchy with the power to control the sky, and all ponies receive a mark that denotes their future, and ponies have the power to manipulate the world through magic, huh? I'd say that's crazy. But right now I'm a pony traveling through a forest trying to rescue a literal god from another god, who each has the power to move the heavens with a pretty pink pony whose hair resembles cotton candy way too much for my own liking. So I guess anything's really possible. Right now, Naruto mutteringly said before the turf beneath the group felt the need to give way under its weight, forcing all non-Pegasi to follow the ground path towards the edge of the cliff, with the exception of one blonde stallion with ethereal purple clouds grabbing his rear legs and starting to pull him into the air. Crap, 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 crap. What the hell's going on? Was Naruto's final words before he was engulfed by the ethereal mist and disappeared from view. For him, the dark mist obscured his vision as he was suspended in midair for a moment, but then it opened up to reveal him kneeling on the ground in a battered castle throne. In front of him, there was an obsidian throne in the middle of the royal seating area, with a golden version of it appearing to be thrown against a wall. As he persisted in struggling and trying to ascend, Naruto asked her, "I take it you are Nightmare Moon? A mare with the power to control the ether and the heavenly bodies that fills the cosmos?" The armored mare said, "Yes, that is the name my sister lovingly gave me before I was banished to that frozen abyss within the moon, and I do have the power to move the moon and stars. Now you will answer my questions, or I will get the answers myself. Now how did a stallion like yourself come into possession of that malevolent power, or how did you come to this world into Uzumaki?" As she lowered her head and tilted her vertically slit eyes to look him in the eyes. The teenager glared at the tall woman, who merely started laughing at his statement, and willed her dark mist to cover his body and the right half of his face. "I remember trying to summon a toad by forcing all my core energy into one last attempt. I guess I messed it up and ended up here, but at least I didn't condemn the people I planned to rule to an assured famine by the lack of sunlight," he said. "Oh please, my plan isn't as short-sighted as they have made it out to be. If they need more light for their crops, then I can bring some stars closer to provide more light. If they grow cold, then the same applies. For a millennia, I have thought of every possible problem and a way to solve them. My sister has basked for far too long in the limelight. So I'll ask you this only once. I've seen through your eyes the life you've lived, the loneliness you've experienced. And I can relate, it has been a millennia since I saw my sister and longer than that since I last saw my parents. So here are your three choices," the winged unicorn stated as Naruto felt sudden mobility in his body as the mist withdrew and he shot to a stand. "Rule with me and become the king of Equestria. Rule under me as my son and me as your mother, later becoming the king when I deem you ready, or you could reject my offer. I already know what is likely your answer, but consider a chance for a family love and escape." From their looks, the blonde was speechless as he stared at the terrible mare. If he agreed, he would be supporting the villain to the people, but in doing so, he would receive maternal or matrimonial love, freedom from the hatred that frequently threatened to consume him, and his other option would put him at odds with the deity of the night, but it might also allow him to meet Celestia and possibly return home. "Nightmare Moon, going against every fiber in my body and every emotion I so want, I have to reject your humble opportunity. You've seen my life, and you know I made a promise. By the blood in which flows through my veins, I must return to my home by tomorrow. I swore to her that I would avenge her honor that day, and I'm a man of my word." the blonde said with a visibly devastated voice. Unfortunate, but expected, the mare said in a tone that also conveyed her sorrow at his decision. 5 black chains emerged from the rear of her throne, securing each limb before the final one wrapped around his muzzle. The chains then started to retreat into the chair, forcing him to sit on the black throne. With that, the mare disappeared into a stream of ethereal vapor, leaving him confined to the chair and reflecting on his life to date. Hopefully you will reconsider my offer tomorrow. Now sit there while I take care of your dreadful herd of mares. Don't worry, I won't hurt them too much, he said. Was it really worth their time to paint the Hokage statue, store itching powder in the ether guard uniforms, and plastic wrap every school restroom? What did he do to merit the loneliness and suffering of his youth, as he spent his days attempting to study, but was dismissed by the professors due to the Kyuubi? He made an effort, but all of his friendships ended badly, except for when he helped Hinata when he was younger, and when Yoda took him to play with the clan heirs and heiresses. It almost seemed poetic. He was born alone, and would remain that way throughout his life. If he couldn't stand by his straightforward pledge to Hinata to fight Niji, then where was the integrity in his word? Twilight's inquiry, "Nta? Why the hey are you here?" startled him out of his reverie, and revealed her encircling my 5 bowling ball-sized rock spheres adorned with different gem forms. His warning was partially garbled, but she recognized it when the mare appeared in front of him and Twilight. She turned to face him with a dissatisfied but not irate expression. "Twilight! Run! She's here!" Using Nightmare Moon's distracted attention, Twilight tried to use her horn to create the spark required for the elements, but her attempt was unsuccessful as Nightmare Moon's magic brought the 5 stone spheres to her hooves. "Oh, that's no fun! Why did you tell her?" "Your friends are trying to get rid of me," Twilight said. As Nightmare Moon crushed the gray stones under her armored hooves, she proclaimed, "TSK, how rude now, Twilight. I am a merciful mare, so I am giving you an ultimatum, since your elements are no more. I will overlook your previous transgressions if you become my student. In my absence, I was able to see a variety of magic," she said. "You're the one who abandoned your sister and cast the world into eternal night," the unicorn replied, seemingly smothering any mercy in the taller mare. "I could never betray Celestia, and I would never betray her for you," she said. "Did I betray her? Whatever you decide, I was imprisoned in the center of my moon. Celestia betrayed Luna by disregarding her concerns and abandoning us when she imprisoned us in the moon. This continued for 10 centuries, 1,000 winters, 12,000 months, 52,142.9 weeks, and 365,000 days. As she kicked a portion of the former elements in the direction of Twilight, the nocturnal monarch icily remarked, "Your loyalty is wasted on my sister." "Allegiance? You're wrong about the elements, Nightmare Moon. The elements are more than those stones. They're right here in this room," the unicorn whispered as she peered at the stairway and saw a herd of approaching shadows. As she concentrated on the newcomers, the mare declared, "Please stop your pointless complaining. Even with your friends here, you 6 are no match for me. The only ones who could help you are imprisoned or gone. Surrender, and I'll spare you from what's coming." "Nightmare Moon, you're mistaken. Although the elements may be broken on the ground, their characteristics allow life to continue. Each of my buddies is an element." The mare in the moon's full attention was drawn to Celestia's devoted pupil's cry. Naruto took advantage of the situation by using his tail to pry the chains off his right arm and retrieve a kunai from his weapon pouch. As Twilight described how her friends represented the elements and the fragments of the former surrounded them in a flurry of light, Naruto was able to break free from the chains and put the weapon in his mouth. Twilight started as a matching light encompassed each mare and directed its light towards her. You see, Nightmare Moon, when those elements are ignited by the spark that resides in the heart of us all, Twilight said, it creates the sixth element, the element of magic. Twilight's Sparkle had discovered the spark, but she refused to be sealed away again. She had attempted to leave the bothersome mare, but the stallion proved to be an annoyance by jumping on her back to seize her wings and biting her hind legs with his tail to stop her from running. There were 6 ponies in front of the mare that had accomplished something that only her sister had accomplished. Quick, Twilight! I'm not able to keep her forever. As he prepared to grasp her waist with his legs and her neck with his arms, Nta gave the order. No, there's no way I could use it with Yo Dash. Perhaps this will be powerful enough to create a portal that will lead me back to my house. Time seemed to slow down for Nightmare Moon, and the new horse just smiled sadly. So hurry while you still have the chance. The blonde interrupted her with what were probably his final words. Steeling herself, Twilight pointed her horn at him and, using the light from her eyes, fired the double helix of rainbows directly at them. Why would you tell such a falsehood to a total stranger? Is it really worth it to risk your future and your vow to Hinata to help 6 ponies who will probably forget you? The mare inquired, feeling his hold slack, but she didn't try to run away because it was already too late. I've been trained to be both a soldier and a hero. A soldier is supposed to die for the cause, while a hero is supposed to sacrifice himself for others. Unfortunately for you, I am both. I have a lot of unfinished business and promises back home, and I forgot to water my plants. I'm also probably going to be a little late to honor Hinata, as I missed my last birthday and promised Nico that I would celebrate it with her. I'll probably need to reschedule, but would you like to accompany me as my +1? As the rainbow's light accentuated his azure blue eyes and washed out his orange fur, Nurta asked her. I believe we will be late to it. Last time this detour lasted 1,000 years. I bet. At least you'll have company this time. After saying, Yes, it is. Hopefully you can get home in time to. The two were engulfed by a burst of rainbow light, and then a wave of blinding light threw everything in the room aside. The main 6 were discovered lying on the ground as the light went out, each of them sporting a new piece of jewelry. They all had necklaces with gemstones that matched their cutie marks in cut and color, with the exception of Twilight, who wore a tiara with her purple 6-pointed star cutie mark. They all started to stand up, but soon they realized that there was only 1 mare and 1 stallion missing. Dusk? Are they? Pinky's query lingered in the air as they turned to face the unicorn, waiting for her response. However, before she could respond, they were drawn to the moving pile of debris. Nta muttered, Ugh! I've had the most freaky dream about ponies and rainbows. I'm pretty sure there was a dragon too. As he climbed out of the hole in the wall. His coat looked like it had been growing for years without being cut, and his right side of hair was midnight black, covering his eyes and part of his muzzle. Before anyone could question the change in his appearance, a flash of light brought attention to the white-themed monarch, which made the 6 Maras bow to her. Twilight, my faithful student, I knew you were able to do it, the equestrian monarch said, praising her as she rubbed her head. However, it was an old mare story, you told me. Pinky went up to Nurta and removed the dark hair from his face as Twilight questioned the goddess of the sun. The movement showed that there was a patch of dark skin and hair surrounding his right eye, which was dark blue with a pupil that had changed to be vertically split like a predator's. Nurta, are you okay? Pinky asked him as he rearranged his hair to temporarily only cover the right half of his face. We still need to have your welcoming party after all. A light blue hoof slowly took his offered limb and crawled away from the hole. "I'm fine. I'd be more concerned with her," the blonde said as he approached the hole he had previously crawled out of and held out his right hoof. In contrast to Celestia's elaborate gold crown, Luna's was smaller and composed of a solid black hue. "I present to you Princess Luna, the goddess of the moon and the other monarch of Equestria," the shaggy blonde said as she bowed before the smaller monarch. The mayor asked the visitor, who appeared to be oozing magic, "Sister, it has been far too long, but I have to inquire how someone so young and someone about whom I have never heard anything come to know such knowledge." His question didn't appear to satisfy Celestia, but her sister's embrace and sobs into her chest managed to divert her attention. "I don't know, ma'am. I just seem to know things I did not know before, like a library was crammed into my head," she said. Celestia comforted her younger sister as she sobbed into her bosom, but the stallion's cough diverted her attention. "As sister, we have missed thou greatly," she said. "Princess Celestia, huh? You likely don't know, but I am not from here. I am from a land which I can tell is not from here. Equestria, Ponyville, or the Everfree Forest have never been heard about from where I lived. I fear that I belong from a land being literal worlds away. If you don't have a territory called the Elemental Nations at any point in your history, then it is true. Your student told me that you may be able to assist me in my problem. I can tell that my cutie mark may be key to it. Magic may have a key to the solution. But unlike your people, I use a foreign energy called core energy. I have a time limit of less than 1 day. I do not wish to be an annoyance to you, but I am desperate. In my hometown, I am expected to compete against the prodigy for the honor of his cousin he had insulted. I have been undertrained and underprepared for the tournament, but I am bound by my word to fulfill my declaration. So I plead for assistance in finding a way to go home." Naruto finished as he fell to his knees in front of the two goddesses. "Whoa, Princess Celestia, do you know of any magic or spells that could aid him?" Twilight questioned her teacher in a startled tone, while the horse that had spoken rudely to everyone but Pinkie had politely requested help from the equestrian monarchs. As the taller of the two monarchs held out her right wing and gestured for her student to approach her, she said, "I think my sister and I can solve this problem back in Canterlot. Come Twilight, there is a lot that needs to be looked into while we continue your magical studies." Princess Celestia, I was kind of hoping I could stay in Ponyville for a bit. Not that I don't want to help you, but there's still much I need to learn about friendship. During my stay in Ponyville, I learned much about what it means to be friends, but there's still much I don't know," Twilight said with a bit of hesitation toward her instructor. "Are you certain that this Twilight is real?" the White-Furred Queen asked her. "Canterlot would be much less interesting without you or Spike there." Her sister led off of her sister's chest and stood next to the disheveled stallion, who appeared to be rather interested in the ground. The talented unicorn politely asked her teacher, "I am sure, Princess, you sent me to Ponyville with the intention of me learning about friendship, and while I have learned much, there's still much that I don't know about. So if you will allow me, then I will want to stay in Ponyville," with the 5 Maras mentioned standing behind her. The 3 of them were surrounded by an alabaster white energy that glowed brightly as they teleported away. Celestia declared, "Well then, I accept your request. From here on, I decree that Twilight will remain in Ponyville to learn more about friendship and report it back to me. I hope to read about your findings soon, but my sister and Nta must be off. There are matters which require my immediate." "Is this our new fortress, sister?" Luna inquired as she gazed at the enormous hourglass of sand in the middle of the room and the enormous array of bookshelves covering the floor. "Correct. Now I would ask you to accompany me to the throne room, but I need to deal with the citizens of Canterlot. As soon as I can, I will be back here to assist you. The upper level is reserved for more advanced magic, so I'd advise looking up there. Take care, sister. I will also have to contact some workers to adjust a room for your stay," Celestia said as she left the library with the pair on their own. Naruto blushed slightly and said to the mayor, "So, Princess Luna, it is nice to finally meet you in person or pony. Your pony's grammatical system is still confusing to me." The two proceeded slowly to the shelves, where the more magically oriented pony used her horn to raise numerous books to eye level. "Your declaration is right, and we are a little overdue in our communication. However, we must ask about your previous statement regarding the use of chakra in connection with magic. Please let me know what you can do. As she put aside a book titled Magic of Equestria, List and Location, the millennium-old horse asked. During his explanation, Naruto attempted and failed to open the book, much to the princess's delight. "Well, I am able to make copies of myself, but I haven't tried to use my core energy as I am. Last time I used my core energy, I had exhausted my reserves," Naruto said the magic princess. The princess of the night said, "We insist that the attempt to. Perhaps your issue is disharmony between the dual energies. If we had a catalyst then, that would have further ease in trying to combine them." And the blonde nodded. He clapped his hooves together and concentrated all of his available power into a single technique. According to his technique, Kage Bunshin no spirit art, shadow clone technique. A cloud of smoke filled the narrow path before clearing to reveal a second Naruto standing next to him. The second blonde said, "Hey boss, you have a piece of Nightmare Moon's armor stuck in your mane," as he mounted the shard and gave it to the princess. A duplication ability, and you were able to preserve a segment of armor comprised of magic. This is theoretically the key thou needs. Put on the item and try focusing core energy and magic into it before repeating that ability. This is a unique opportunity to discover how the two energies react," Luna said. After that, she used her magic to transform the armor segment into an upside-down black metal crescent with a matching black chain connected to the middle. When she released her magic from it, the item fell onto Naruto's neck. Naruto muttered, "Let's try. Nothing ventured, nothing gained," as his horn started to glow orange and feed into the necklace's now orange left side. In contrast, his cutie mark radiated a purple glow that filled the right side of the crescent. With the energies clearly present in the item, Naruto kept his hooves in the same position and concentrated on using the item to channel his power. Spirit art is not Kage Bunshin. When the previous clone disintegrated in the summoning of another, whose silhouette was seen inside the cloud, the chamber filled with smoke once more, but this time the cloud was dark purple. In contrast to the previous copy, this one was closer to Celestia in height and had burnt orange hair. Dreadful moon? How? For thousands of years, you were one with yourself. How did you come into being while the elements were trying to destroy you? Luna made a demand of her ex-husband, who merely grinned and tipped up the mayor's chin. We need to get our beloved friend back home, don't we, sister? Oh, Lulu, I'm more than yours or Naruto's other parts, and I'm neutral to Nyx. But that's beyond the point right now. With a smile that was almost taunting, Nyx queried Luna. The mayor pathetically said, "We are not sisters. Thy actions were responsible for our imprisonment for 1,000 winters. We would have learned to accept it," drawing a mocking snort. "Please, we know that there's no way you would have simply accepted it. I gave you the power, the opportunity, the chance to get what you were due. If we didn't do anything, then those foolish ponies would take advantage of you. You were and still are a monarch. Heed my words as well too. If you give them one step back, then the whole endeavor will be lost. You allow the abuse to happen once, then you will never be free from them. If Luna and myself did not try to bring about a change, we would spend the millennia feeling insecure about us. Nick said with a stomp to emphasize his point. Nix, what did you mean when you stated that you were more than her in my parts? With a perplexed tone, Naruto cut off the two Mara's comments. When the elements collided with us, Nightmare Moon was ejected from Little Lulu and fortunately collided with those dark feelings you try so hard to repress. When the elements tried to rid of Nightmare Moon, it instead transferred her into you. I now embody a millennium of emotions from Luna and the parts of yourself you do not wish to acknowledge, your hatred towards the civilians and your teammate, the desire you feel for Hinata, and the pain felt since you remember, while I feel the fear Luna has of her sister rejecting her, the sister who happened to have important work due on the same day that her baby sister was returned to her, the anger she feels for the millennium of imprisonment, the fact that her sister remained so blind to her pleas and allowed for Nightmare Moon to happen, the regret of her actions, and what nearly happened because of them. But don't worry, Luna. He also saw your entire life story, so you have nothing to be embarrassed about, though there might be several moments that might be. What was your record again? For 12 minutes? Or was it 15? Nyx queried her, innocently, which made the princess flush profusely. Stop making such obscene remarks. What stops you from taking my sibling away with you again with the elements? Luna asked the mare, trying to make her flush as much as could. Just respond to this question. What would happen if I vanished? Celestia would always be suspicious of you if I bother her, but what if you told her that I lived in Naruto? I don't think she would let him go back to his house because she wouldn't. You two are stuck with me, but don't worry, Luna, I'll be with Naruto in his home, the dark orange mare said, leaning on the stallion's head. A stallion helped 6 strangers without cause, and ended up having someone who came into possession of the mare, which she despises. Unfortunately, I don't know how to return home. We were trying to before you appeared, but if you have a clue, then be my guest, Naruto said to the larger mare. You need to mess up your summoning technique, Nick said, focusing his magic and core energy to manifest hands. Naruto prepared himself by running through the same combination of signs. From what I saw, you messed up on the last seal. You signed Tora instead of Hitsuji, so try doing the sequence of signs again, half magic and half core energy to compensate for the lack of dexterity. Now hurry, it's been 1,000 years, and I have already grown tired of being in the same building as Celestia. Summoning spirit art, I want to see you again. Inu Torisara Tora. Naruto and Nyx were engulfed by the cloud of core energy as he directed his energy via his created hands. The cloud swiftly collapsed in on itself, revealing a tiny gateway in the middle, and then the portal collapsed in on itself, leaving the mare alone. All right, sister, I ought to be free for the time being. Now, I assume that you two were able to resolve this issue when Celestia noticed her sister by herself in the library, arranging a number of books on the shelves. She inquired. The light blue horse said, Yes, from what we know, Naruto has been returned to his home, as she kept the books in storage. A man in a bandana said, Would Naruto Uzumaki and Niji Hyuga please come down to the arena? As he twirled a throwing needle in his mouth. A brunette with pale white eyes and a cream-colored jacket came down one flight of stairs. The teenager appeared uninterested or indifferent to his prospective rival. Call it Proctor. Fate has decided to name me the victor of T-. Niji was interrupted by a smoke explosion to the Proctor's right. As the smoke cleared, a blonde emerged, nearly as tall as the Proctor, with his face covered in waist-length hair and glowing azure and dark blue. Am I proctoring late? The blonde asked the referee. I have been sidetracked with other matters. As he rotated his shoulders. This action showed his heavily muscled arms, which looked like spreading steel strings beneath the flesh. His legs and lower body matched, and his body appeared to balance power with speed and dexterity. Uzumaki Naruto? I see that the training month has paid off. Prepare yourself, because you can now fight. As he leaped back to let the two fight, the green-vested ninja exclaimed. When the veins around his eyes became more noticeable, the brunette declared, So you allowed your hair to grow and you exercised. Fate has still determined you lose to me. Before lunging at the shaggy blonde, his index finger ready to strike his bare body. However, he never made contact with the blonde because a metal knife had raised to block the attack with the broadside of the weapon. Nta grumbled as he flicked the Hyuga away and pocketed his weapon, saying, I had assumed I would have been given a chance to adjust, but it seems not. Prepare yourself, for this will be swift. Before Niji could finish his tirade, a fist was rammed into his cheek and sent flying, saying, Big words will not save you from the hand fate has dash. With an assured smile, Naruto promised the brunette, Stop talking. If this was a real fight, then you would have had a knife sticking out of your face. I do not care what monologue you have planned, but focus on the match. I'm no therapist, but I'm willing to take a crack at you. This is ID, and this is Super Ego. So buckle up, cause we're going to chat. In retaliation, Niji fired out of the wall and tried a flurry of palm strikes on him, but Naruto blocked or parried each attempt, and to make matters worse, he started talking. Now, do you believe that your fixation on fate and predestination stems from your attempt to accept that some behaviors are out of your control? Or is it that you utilize fate as a coping technique rather than attempting to address the problem, since you were brought up to feel that you have no control over some situations? Nta asked him while avoiding or thwarting any of the prodigy's strikes. Niji concluded his statement by taking off his headband and revealing a green Hindu swastika with hooked ends. Be quiet. You talk about things you don't know anything about. My fate was decided with the birth of my father. With him being born after my uncle, I was branded with a slave mark to keep my side of the family in line. Hinata and her sister had the privilege of being born into the main family, while I was born into servitude, he said. You use fate to defend your cruel treatment of your cousin, but fate is not as clear-cut as you think it is. For example, if you were destined to be a baker but ended up becoming a masonry worker, fate changed your plans. You claim that fate has chosen you to serve the main family, but what if you simply fled? With a dark purple cloud flowing from his back and forming into a menacing cape behind him, Naruto promised him, No servitude. Now that I've said what I have, I'll accept payment for the help while you go and deal with your family issues. 'Cause if you don't go to the hospital and apologize to Hinata, then I'll have to make you. Now prepare yourself, for you are within my field of divination. Ni 2, Yon 4, Hachi 8, Jiroku 16, Sanjuni 32, Hak Sanjuni Sho 8 trigrams 32 palm. Niji said with a final call, striking the blonde back with a blue glowing palm, sending him skidding back a few centimeters. Now surrender. Your core energy has been sealed off and won't open in an hour or unless I let it, he said. I don't need core energy for this, Proctor. Call a medic for him. This fight is over, Nta declared as his eyes flashed dark blue and he disappeared. Niji was flung against the wall unconscious almost immediately after he vanished, and his face and body were covered in numerous fist marks, most of which were around his sternum. As the announcement reverberated throughout the arena, the cries began. Niji Hyuga is unable to continue, thus making Naruto Uzumaki the winner, they said. Everything from drug use to body doubles spewed from their mouths as the teen sauntered to the seating area with his cape dispersing and medics prying the Hyuga from the wall. What the devil happened to you, Naruto? As soon as he sat down, the blonde heard the first inquiry. His purple-loving fellow blonde, Ino, was the most talkative, with the elusive Shino at her back and the slothful Nara Shikamura resting on the bench next to him. His succinct response was, "Training," and he opened his hair to look at the Yamanaka sitting next to him. "You're taller, and you also don't look half awful, so I doubt that even a month of training could make you look so savage. What's your secret, then?" The platinum blonde nudged him with a resolute look. He insisted, "I just spent the time training, nothing more." Yet he was also contemplating the change within. Nyx echoed in his mind, "That would be me. Can't have you all week now, can we?" But focus on the blonde. She's going to say something. Her statement pulled his attention away from her words, and the blonde said, "Yes, exactly. Tell me to how you did it." Ino cautioned him, "There's no way you could change that much. So tell me, or I'll keep asking." "All right." In an attempt to get her attention, Naruto urged her, "Now concentrate on the match. Your precious Sasuke is about to be competing. I was sent to a magical land with pastel-colored ponies and assisted in toppling the usurping governmental figure." Naruto wanted to try to talk to his new passenger after Ino was appeased. "All right, but we're not done. I expect an actual answer from you," he said. Without saying anything more, Naruto felt a pull on his thoughts and closed his eyes. Nyx said, "Hello, Naruto. How good of you to visit me. Your compatriot isn't one for communication." As Naruto made an appearance in the castle from earlier, but this time it was more intact and had a larger shadow motif. "Nyx, could you explain why my combat skills improved so much?" The blonde requested the mare in front of him, and as soon as her horn shone, an obsidian throne materialized behind him for him to sit on. He agreed. "That would be because of me. When I joined your menagerie of beings inside you, I brought along my experiences as Luna and Nightmare Moon," Nyx said, constructing a tiny mirror that first displayed a foal named Luna, then an early mare named Luna, and finally Nightmare Moon. "I possess her recollections. Is it not invasive for me to examine them?" She started to giggle when Nta asked her, and then she said that Luna was aware of it and had also gotten his memories and experiences, which gave her insight into his world. She also justified its use by saying that it would help him comprehend Equestria better once he returned. "So Luna is okay with it and knows I know. Looking still seems weird. Fine with it or not, you know it. Now, if I'm done helping you, then go downstairs and deal with your fox. They have been quite bothersome as of recently." Naruto chose to listen, so he left the throne room and went down the stairs. At the bottom of the stairs was a long stone pathway with a metal-gated cell at the end. A pair of red, vulpine eyes could be seen in the cell, staring at the approaching teenager. A deep voice spoke as soon as he got close enough to the cell to see nothing else. "So, after your conversation with that entitled jar of glue, you have chosen to show up for me?" A deep red muzzle with its teeth bared in a smile appeared as the speaker asked. "Look, even though neither of us likes the other, I've come to talk to you. So please shrink up so we can talk." A porcelain kitsune and a crimson robe with a golden obi appeared from the shadows as the blonde protested while pointing at the concealed kitsune. They made a sound of disapproval before emitting a red light, and the eyes soon grew smaller and halted at a height of roughly 2 meters. "Do you find this form more appealing?" The redhead, who was over a quarter of a meter taller, snarled at the blonde in the same deep, booming voice. Naruto started to say, "I guess now I've come here to talk to you about our arrangement," but was interrupted by a snicker. "I'm going to assume that you're here to demand core energy from me, or to avoid interfering with your life.as. They hooked their clawed claws around the bars," the kitsune asked the blonde. The blonde handed the kitsune his hand and said, "No, I was going to ask you to help me if I need it. You're much older than myself and have more experience in some areas where I need, in return, I will allow you as much freedom as I can. You want my assistance, kid? What will I get, except in the hazy promise of freedom? Why don't you let me go and just fuck off? In response, the Ninetales extended both middle fingers. Alright, I'm attempting to be courteous. Therefore, it would be greatly appreciated if you could refrain from acting like a complete jerk while I'm attempting to settle this amicably. Naruto snapped back, wearing a fierce smile. You have my attention, so explain me why I should help you. If you die, I'll merely wait till I return because, unlike you, I can't die. This kid has some balls on him. Unless you help me out, I will make sure that for the remainder of my life will be pure agony for you. So make your choice. Play nice and I will give you some freedom. Or you can be an ass, and I'll make your stay inside me terrible, so choose. Nta said with a face full of barely contained rage. The fox shook the blonde's hand and said, So that's how you're playing? Fine, kid. I'll accept the deal, so open these gates and let me through. Naruto shrugged and said, I have no idea. I thought you would know. Which made the fox recoil and become visibly irate. The fox told him, Just try imagining this place looking different. We're inside your head. Before vanishing into the back of the cell and leaving a trail of thudding behind. Naruto concentrated on changing the cell's appearance on the other side of the bars. The cell quickly changed to a plain, bar-free room with a tatami mat in the middle, and the masked fox kneeling on it was slapping the table next to it with its head. The Kanij seal was in the center of the mask. The fox waved off the blonde, saying dismissively, Since you have lived up to your end, so will I. I have allowed you access to a ninth of my power to use, which will reset at the end of the day. Enjoy your prize, mortal. As he disappeared from the scene, the blonde said, Okay, I'll be off then. I should probably get back the arena. Well, bye, QB. It's Kurama. Well, hello, Kurama. I believe we must discuss our common compatriot's future. A lot of snow-white feathers were peacefully falling from the sky when Nta opened his eyes. The arena was less peaceful when half of a sand tanuki was dragging a teenager with a duck's ass-styled hair. At the same time, ninjas with hourglasses and 8-note marks on their headbands started attacking Hyde Village residents. After weighing his options, he decided to deal with the sand monster dragging his teammate. I suppose I'm pursuing that sand creature since I have no reason to unwind for a while. It's not like I just returned from a long travel and had to figure out a complicated seal array that allows me to be completely restructured physically, go through a fucking rainbow, or have my fucking species changed. His final words reverberated throughout the community, leaving many perplexed. Uzumaki Nta, what are you discussing? Oh no, Ino was after him. Nta told the blonde who was following him. It's nothing, Ino. Just go and help someone else. I'm just a little crazy and I'm talking to the voices in my head. Now I'm going to fight that giant sand tanuki. That sounded stupid, I know it, but I'm doing it anyway. As they pursued a monster that was half boy and half sand. What about the rainbow you screamed about? I'm more interested in that seal and the spatial travel you were complaining about. Now that Ino, the Hyde Village gossip queen, had a lead on anything Nta began to fear. Once she concentrated on something, officials either made her stop or helped her figure out the solution. He was about to say, I'll tell you after we deal with that. I'm not going to tell you while we're at basically war with 2 villages and being attacked by a sand monster, when a number of enormous snakes emerged from beyond the walls and started to strike. And several giant snakes, he said, taking out a kunai and cutting the hair in front of his face. Nta commanded her, Look, Ino, if you plan on following me against this sand monster, then I'm going to need to know what techniques you know. I am aware of my clan's methods as well as a few others, such as the Suiton, Suede and No Spirit Art, Water Release, Water Bullet Technique, and the Suiton, Mizu Shuriken, Water Release, Water Shuriken. Why? Before pushing her to the left and barely avoiding a tree that was flung at them, the platinum blonde asked the somewhat sun-kissed blonde. Glancing back at the road from which it had come, a sand arm was observed retracting towards. In response to her question, Naruto pulled his hair back into a long ponytail and secured it with medical tape from his weapon pouch. I want you to fire anything with range at him. He's a CQC, close quarter combatant, so he fights up close to people. I want you to cover me while I move in to fight him, he said. Are you crazy? You mentioned that he fights close, thus your answer is to do the same? Do you even give your words any thought? As Ino demanded of her fellow blonde, he began rapping his fists with two kunai between his knuckles instead of turning to face her. When he was done, he turned to her and gave her one kunai. The weapon was dulled and worn, with a slightly chipped blade and yellowed handle wrapping from age. The blonde insisted, Baby, but Duck has got himself caught. Unless you want to help me dig the grave afterwards, then follow my orders and blast him. I'm expecting to get that back, so keep a distance. Before charging down the line of destroyed trees and encountering the red-headed teen with a one-tailed tanuki on his right side standing next to an unconscious black-haired teen who was bound to a tree by sand. The red-headed teen snapped his head in the blonde's direction with an insane smile. Uzumaki! Thank you for joining us. The sand surrounding Sask began to mount his neck, and the Tanuki kid hissed. Your friend's neck looks so broken, just one twist. How about we get into a fight? Gaara immediately began to giggle before he lunged for the blonde with his enormous claw aimed at his head, but was stopped by a bullet of water blasting off the sand's clawed hand. Drop him, or this will get messy, Naruto warned the red-headed creature. Gaara swiftly countered by using the sand arm to block the attack and fired a volley of sand-throwing stars. Naruto ripped his weapons out of the arm and avoided the attack, then ran along the top of the arm and aimed to strike his face. Unfortunately, the sand arm partially opened up, causing him to sink into it. With Naruto imprisoned, Gaara pulled him close to his face with his unsettling smile. Let's get messy then, he said, realizing that a peaceful resolution was out of the question. It's over, Saba dash, Naruto said, forcing himself to slam his forehead against Gaara's before the latter could complete his move. Both of them flinched, and the world darkened as a result. There goes that demon. He's disgusting. Why does he retain him? Eventually, he will simply kill everyone. Naruto muttered. Great, there they go again. They're not even trying to hide it. Before realizing that he was in a strange place with clay or sandstone-walled houses, and a sun beating down on the area. Tiny dust devils were seen wandering the sand-covered roads, in contrast to Hyde Village's cool winds and wooden houses. Yashimaru had the right idea. Such demons deserve to die, the voices said once more. Red-eyed silhouettes were seen wandering the streets, and at one point or another, they all appeared to be glaring at a playground. The area was largely deserted, save for one child. What was that Gaara, singling alone on a swing, with a circle of sand on the ground that was spiked to keep people from getting close to him? Kazekage-sama should just let us kill him. I heard that even his own mother didn't love that thing. No one could love that thing. Who would wish to? Naruto, wake up! When Naruto opened his eyes, he saw a fully formed towering tanuki with a sleeping red head protruding from its head. The enormous beast was lumbering towards the hamlet while yelling, He's on the move. while Ino shook the blonde who was gradually recovering awareness. Oh! As he tore the kunai from his hands and assumed that Hitsuji Ram sign to said, yeah, Ino, now that he's transformed, I doubt normal means will be an option. I want you to stand back and try not to panic. Why would I pan? Ino stammered as the fog that had surrounded Naruto had cleared and a huge hind leg was exposed. The leg was coated in harsh red hairs, and when she looked up, a tall one-tailed fox was staring down at her. The fox signaled, "Saddle up, Ino. I want you to shoot at him while I wake up Gaara," and held out the enormous hand for her to climb on. She did so gradually, and after she was seated on the fox's head, the vulpine charged at the raccoon-like creature and followed it up by digging its claws into the tanuki's arms. In Twaiton, swayed and no spirit art, the sand beast's body partially collapsed when the pressure water cut through its chest. Keep shooting! Gaara! Now is the time to ascend, the fox screamed as it moved ahead but the tanuki. When the fox's head got close, it was encircled by smoke, and Naruto fled with Ino clinging to his wet tanuki's sand. Unable to react quickly, the fist struck the redhead, and the sand collapsed, sending the stunned Tsunade ninja flying into a line of trees with the platinum and the sun-kissed blonde. When the three of them stopped, Ino leaped off Naruto's back as he went toward Gaara. And no! Don't leave. I will not be killed by you. I will not vanish. I will prove myself. As the little bit of sand surrounding him rose to create a wall of spikes, the redhead screamed. Naruto was unfazed and kept moving forward, not flinching as the sand spikes penetrated his body. Weren't both of our childhoods rather screwed up? All I want to do is chat. Will you listen? Naruto asked him as he halted a spike that was headed for his face. No. That's what my uncle tried. Gaara muttered, "You just want to kill me like them," as he attempted to stab the blonde once more. Naruto then leaped towards him, bracing himself for the pain. Gaara felt nothing burn or pierce him, only a pair of arms encircling him with tiny drops of blood trickling down his shoulders. I don't know how I know, but I've been through similar things as you, except that you have your siblings to support you. Family is something I don't have, but you do, and you feel angry, sad, and hopeless. If I wanted to hurt you, I would have done it by now. Talk to your siblings and try to patch things up. I saw how you kept them at a distance, so don't. I've always wanted family, so don't squander it. Let's go now, Ino. His siblings are here to watch him. This war is over, Naruto said as we approached her and began to move toward the village. After they were a safe distance away, a sandy blonde with 4 ponytails and a man with war paint fell down next to the redhead. Naruto, I have a lot of questions for you. For example, why did you give me this kunai? What the devil happened to you during the training trip? And why do you behave so differently than you do at the academy? As she trailed Naruto to his residence in the northeastern part of the town, Ino made a demand. Naruto partially responded to her before a column of rising smoke caught his attention. A smoking apartment complex with the building skeleton partially still visible was visible. Nothing really happened for the first 3 weeks of the month. I tried to learn from my teacher, but he just had me do core energy control. I can sit and walk on water now, but that's all I learned except for the summoning spirit art, which didn't work for me, he said. Was that your residence? He had recently lost his house, the blonde inquired, but he simply shrugged and headed south on the road. The half-blonde whispered the final words that Ino heard. Was yes, guess I'm moving, and for the academy part, this is who I really am, though I doubt you remember. What is the intended meaning of that? The platinum blonde pointed the kunai at him and said, I remember you acting like a clown in class. he simply groaned. Naruto laughed as he rubbed his right forearm. We met earlier than that. You gave me that kunai on that day when you, Choji, Shikamaru, and Sakura invited me to play with you and Yoda. I was so happy to have friends to play with you five, but when I got caught up in a river and nearly drowned, your five were gone, and I tried to ask you about it, but none of you remembered. So forgive me if I'm a bit crass about someone saying they are your friend only to not know who you are later. That cut me deeper than any knife I tried with. They soon left the most urban area where the majority of the fighting had taken place, and entered a district lit by red lighting. A number of dubious-looking men and women glanced at them before returning to their activities. What are we doing in this place? Are you certain it's okay to be here? I've heard that less than legal activity takes on here. Ninja or not, Ino was still a teenage girl with anxieties as she anxiously surveyed the area. When Naruto stopped at a building with a plaque that said 893, he pounded on a piece of the building 3 times, revealing someone's eyes on the other side of the wall staring at them. No one will try anything as long as you stay by me, and we're here anyway, he stated. When the person on the other side of the wall inquired, name, number, reason, Naruto raised his left arm and directed core energy onto the surface. The number 49 soon emerged on the flesh. Naruto said, Naruto and guest, 49 and residency, I'm here to get some items. As the section closed, a 2-meter hole then appeared in the wall, and he led Ino through it. As soon as he passed the doorway, the opening swiftly closed. Inside, the space was a beautifully designed warehouse with a purple-haired woman sitting on a golden throne. Hey Naruto-chan, I see you finally made the decision to bring your girlfriend to visit me. The woman on the throne, who was dressed in a black waistcoat shirt and short-cut denim shorts, asked him, and Ino's face flushed completely while Naruto's cheeks darkened a little. The purple-haired woman swiftly rose from her chair and pulled Naruto into her chest despite his slight height advantage. She's not my girlfriend, Rebecca Webun. She's with me because she wants to get some answers while I fix myself. I'm moving in because someone torched my complex. I'm guessing the Kinryu, Gold Dragon, or the Kinsenkakii, Gold Triangle, but I'm heading to my room, Naruto declared as he motioned for Ino to bow alongside him. Rebecca shooed them out of the area and told them, Don't worry, Ishii Stone and Koseki, or we'll take care of it. Now take your not-girlfriend to your room and try to keep it down. We don't want to hear your fun unless there's a show along with it. The two then went down a hallway and into a room with a paper sliding door, which had a simple cot next to multiple stacks of folded clothes. Each wall featured a different Hokage. The Shodan was supported by a red plate armor set, while the Night Aim had a blue plate version and a face mask with a straight line, 2 half circles on each side, and a line dividing it. The Sand Aim was supported by a headscarf with the hidden leaf symbol and 3 metal plates on its left and right sides, with the entire headset resting on a small statue of a monkey. Finally, the Yondaime was displayed, with 3 hooks containing his trademark tri-pronged knives. You should be responding to my inquiries, not posing new ones. Why are we here? Who is that woman? Are you a member of a gang? Why is the number Yon 4Q9 on your arm? When Naruto put on a solid dark orange t-shirt and a pair of black knee shorts, Ino finally lost it and started to demand. As he lifted up a section of the floor, he pulled out a few pouched black vests and attached a pouch to his left leg. We're here because this is where I live thanks to the fire, and the numbers are actually sure, 4 or death, Ku, not a sufferer. 49 is what the locals called me, so it stuck, and the lady is Rebecca Lee, and she is someone not to anger, he said. How could it be difficult? Do you or do you not? He replaced the board and began to usher out of the room, when the platinum blonde asked him a question. After pointing to the southeast, Naruto said, "It's complicated, Ino. Rebecca Webun and her crew have helped me when I've needed it, and are like my family. Which I believe you should get back to yours. After this war, your parents will likely be worried about you. The Yamanaka district is straight that way, and if someone tries to mess with you, then say 49-foot has sent you," he said. Naruto was left alone in the corridor when Ino said, "Fine, but I still have lots of questions for you," as she left the building. As he could get out of his location, a red spiral that was glowing emerged beneath his right shoulder. Down the hallway, Naruto said, "Rebecca Webun, an ether guard is trying to contact me. Be back soon," as he pursued the exit route. "Do you realize why you're here, Uzumaki?" Shikaka Nara, clan head and Shikamaru's father, a spiky-haired man with 2 scars on his right side, the father of Ino and clan head Inoichi Yamanaka, a spiky-tailed man with 2 strands of hair framing his face, and a feral-looking brunette with 2 red fang marks on her cheeks, and an eye-pock-marked wolf sitting next to her, Tsum Inazuka, the clan head and mother of Kiba and his sister. "I suppose it's related to the assault on our village?" "It somewhat does," Shikaku said. "Several Hyde village residents fell during that assault, including our Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi. You have been placed on a team that is to head out and find Tsunade Senju and return her to our village." "Okay, so where and when?" Inoichi replied this time, and Naruto asked him passively, "I'm going to need to know what to bring." The Yamanaka head explained, "Jiraiya will be leading the mission in 2 hours at the main gate, so make sure he doesn't get too sidetracked. Pack for a couple weeks at least." Naruto bowed and left the room, heading to his house to retrieve a supply pack. He passed through the most damaged area of Hyde Village, where ninjas were carrying away the corpses of those directly or indirectly involved in the recent assault, though some took the time to snarl and glare at him as he passed. "Have you already seen that enormous fox? I bet he helped in destroying the place." "Of course he would. He's involved with those scum. What can you expect from a degenerate like him?" "Just keep walking," Uzumaki reminded himself, clenching his fist so firmly that a tiny stream of blood flowed down his hand. Nevertheless, he kept walking. "Filthy creature. I can't believe someone hasn't killed him. Hopefully someone will." Continue to walk. "How is he able to live by himself? I heard he killed his own mother. What a monster. Animal. Retain. Abomination. Mistake. Walking. What are you doing back already, Naruto? Someone must have let him in, Kyuso, because he took too long and now his Oyabun was growing suspicious." Naruto looked up to view the inside of the warehouse, where Rebecca was staring. He had even managed to return to the warehouse without realizing it. The blonde said, "I'm just grabbing some supplies for a mission. I'm trying to find Tsunade, for whatever reason," which made her giggle. She then threw him an ivory cup with the words, "Bet," printed on the top and 2 6-sided dice inside. "Tell Tsunade that we still need to have that drink, and try to use that on her. She sucks at gambling, but that's the fun in playing with her," the purple-haired boss smirked and told him. The bag contained a canteen of water, a small jug with a cup mouthpiece, 2 rings with a taut wire connecting them, and a handful of different ration bars. After Naruto thanked her with a deep bow and left the building, Rebecca snapped her finger and turned to her right. "Arigato, Rebecca Webun. I'll be back when I can," Naruto said. As a number of shadows left the office, the conservatively Clothed Boss gave the command. Kiswato, Scar, go through the district and make sure the people who made our little friend unhappy are taken care of. Nta muttered. So I'm to meet my team here in 2 hours, and I'm about an hour and a half early, as he sat down on a tree limb outside Hyde Village's walls. After securing his position on the tree, he closed his eyes to take a little rest. When he opened them, he found himself in a familiar throne room with Nyx across from him. The bronze-armored mare smirked and glanced at Naruto's hair as she crossed her left arm over her right and said, Welcome back, Naruto. It's good to see you so soon. I'm surprised you haven't noticed that little addition on yourself yet. His hand swiftly shot up to his head and brushed against a small protrusion on his upper forehead. His disheveled hair concealed a 5-centimeter orange horn that appeared to glow dimly. How did this occur? Did I fail to see this in myself? Nyx merely chuckled at his response as Uzumaki asked himself. Come on, did you not anticipate that you would emerge from the dimensional voyage unaltered? Naruto turned to face Nyx as she said, Your anatomy had changed and now you have a horn. Makes me wonder if you would grow wings. Questions for another time. But I believe you should visit your herd soon, especially the one that smelled of candy. Naruto said, Yeah, I'll just repeat the technique, goodbye, before fading out of the royal room. A short while after, an 8-tailed fox with a leather collar around its neck and a chain attached to the bronze-armored mare's hoof appeared. Why didn't you discuss his feelings with him? The fox tilted its head and asked in a bass-heavy voice. The vulpine nodded as Nyx said, I am a mare who has not socialized in a millennium nor had the need to, and you are a fox soaked in his people's blood. I doubt he would take our advice as well as one of those mares. When Nta opened his eyes and glanced down from the branch outside the seal, he saw Ino coming with a sizable load on her back and the white-haired pervert with the horn metal headband behind her. Hi, Erosenin! Why is Ino present? As he swung down from the branch and glanced at the blonde and the pervert approaching the tree, Nta asked. As they followed the southern road, Jiraiya explained to them. Stop calling me that. I'm a super pervert, and the girls are here to help convince Tsunade. Now we're heading towards places with gambling and drinking, so we're heading towards Tanzakagai first, a place of casinos, bars, and the best brothels I've ever seen. Now we should be there by night, where you two will stay in a hotel and I'll go look for some information, Naruto said. Are you going to go out and whore, or are we going to learn something? The man gave the blonde a scroll and said, You'll be learning how to use the Rasengan, a destructive technique capable of drilling or piercing attacks. Jiraiya explained by forming a screeching blue ball with eddies covering its body with his right hand. Naruto opened the scroll, and the parchment was covered in several large pictures. The first one showed an Orinja holding a balloon with water swirling inside it. The second one showed the balloon with several rubber sections stretching out violently, and the final one displayed the previous 2 pictures with an addition sign, indicating rotation and power for it. Naruto handed the scroll to Ino and turned to Jiraiya. Naruto scowled at the pervert and said, This doesn't change that you left me alone when I was competing against someone I was underprepared for. Jiraiya tried to explain, Look, I needed you to get your powers under control, yours and your other power, but was stopped by a steamy arm. The Uzumaki was literally steamed and had started to exude boiling water vapors. You consented to assist me for that reason, then? You only want me to utilize the fox as a glorified battery to draw from, and then use it whenever I need to. Am I merely a tool to be employed? Naruto smiled as he asked him, but he also left a trail of flaming footprints behind him. Careful, there's someone doesn't know what you're talking about. She witnessed my transformation into a gigantic fox, and she has helped me more in the last day than you have in a whole month." The teenager growled before sprinting down the street, leaving a trail of charred earth in its wake. "I, boar Inu, dog Tori, bird Saru, monkey Hitsudamit, I Inu, Sarafuk, I Inu, Tori, Hitsudamit," Naruto said as he sat in a clearing in the forest and attempted to sign the proper hand sign. He was emitting blue light from his hands and navel, and orange light from his forehead and down his arms. A series of loud explosions and a series of curses could be heard in the background. "Naruto? What's going on?" Ino exclaimed as she walked into the clearing next to a stream where many copies of himself were making whirlpools in the water. Each of them took a semi-formed water ball in their hand, pulled their hand out of the water, and then the ball collapsed, causing the copy to repeat the action. Naruto informed her, "Hey Ino, I'm just training, venting both," while attempting to blend the orange and blue/violet energies. As she sat in front of him, the platinum blonde demanded, "Naruto, I've waited long enough. What happened to you during that month? You act mature, you look mature, and you still need to tell me about why you screamed about that rainbow." The lights quickly went out of his body and turned to face her. He sighed and looked at her with his heterochromatic eyes. "You wouldn't believe me even if I told you. Try me." "Alright," Naruto started. "Jiraiya had me do core energy control exercises before the final exam started so that I would be better able to call forth the toads from their contract. However, when I attempted the technique, a number of things went wrong, and I called forth to a different world or reality. I'm not sure yet, but that place was full of pastel-colored ponies, unicorns, and pegasi," Naruto explained as he lifted his hair and showed off a small orange horn. "No way. It gets better, because when I showed up, I had become a unicorn and appeared in a town that happened to be where a millennium-imprisoned monarch decided to appear to reclaim her throne, and that monarch had the power to control the night, while her sister controls the day. So I got swept up in a group trying to stop the monarch. They managed to defeat her by using the literal power of Friendship Rainbow attack." Ino looked uneasy about him. Ino got him to nod when she said, "Now I'm not believing you, but you must admit it's ridiculous." Naruto continued, "I would say so too if I didn't see it, but the only way I can really show you is to go there again." As a crescent of orange and blue light began to glow and flow into his arms, Ino inquired as she stepped in front of him. "Alright, what so I do then?" Naruto speculated. "I think we'll have to use the two-handed hand signs. It should work." As Ino reluctantly accepted his right hand and experienced a number of alien energies coursing through her. As a cloud of smoke indicated their departure and the energies circled them, Naruto and Ino signed, "Follow me, I Inu, Tori, Saru, Tora, Tiger." One of the Natos questioned the overall group. "So we just keep trying, right?" A second clone gave the others a round of "hi" before saying, "I guess so. Let's keep going until we're empty or we get it." Ino opened her eyes as Naruto's words, Ino, I want you to stay calm," pierced the darkness. Ahead of her was an orange stallion wearing a dark vest and black shorts. In the distance, a number of foreign wood buildings with a variety of colored horses were moving piles of rock and lumber. "What? Where are we?" Ino said slowly, as she felt her own small pack resting on her back and looked down at her hoof and purple hair covering it. "We're in Ponyville, which town in Equestria?" Naruto clarified while assisting her in standing. Despite her awkwardness, she was fortunate not to need to make accommodations for wings or a horn. The platinum asked the blonde, who had a pack on his back and a dark fur patch around his left eye. "You're a horse?" Before she could get her bearings, a light blue mare wearing a purple cloak adorned with stars and a wizard hat was racing toward them with a wagon that had a light brown and red roof. The wagon and the car behind her hit a minor divot on the road, causing the front right wheel to break off. The mare screamed, "Make way! The great and powerful Trixie is on her way through!" as the vehicle bounced wildly. Naruto said to her, "Oh, here, let me help you, Ino. Help her keep it level. I'll reattach the wheel." As Ino trotted over to the wagon and assisted with pushing it up, Naruto took the wheel in his mouth and repositioned it on the axle, concentrating on his horn and using crude magic to tighten the nut on the wheel spoke. Once it was set, Ino let go of the wagon and accompanied Naruto to the front of the vehicle. The blue mare drew her cart to the side of the path and unhooked herself from her harness, saying, "Thank you, ahem. The great and powerful Trixie is a very busy show mare, but I thank you for assisting me. I take it you are not from here?" Being perplexed by the pony's quick deduction, Ino responded, "Yeah, how could you tell?" Trixie bragged, puffing out her breast with pride. "Your attire and a number of other things indicated that you are not from this town, but Trixie is a mare of many talents." As he held out his hoof to greet her, Naruto said, "I guess. So hello, Trixie. My name's Naruto and this is Ino. It's nice to meet you." In response, Trixie shook Naruto's hoof first, then Ino's. As she put on her harness and started down the way, Trixie declared, "You have strange names, but Trixie does not judge others' customs. Trixie must be off, for the world has yet to see my shows. May we meet again." Before she had gone too far, Trixie turned to face the two of them gravely. After announcing the mysterious message, Trixie left the two alone. "Remember this. If you stay in Ponyville, then stay away from the twilight, or bad things will happen," she said. Naruto anticipated her query and helped her find her way as they entered the town's outside limits. "Let's head into the town. I have no idea what she meant or what happened. Let's go to the Liberty Tree near the center. There'll likely be answers there," Naruto said. The appealing female's question, "Come on, Bon Bon," brought them to two talking Maras. A mint green unicorn was speaking to a beige pony with a mane streaked with blue and rose. The unicorn appeared to be attempting to persuade the pony of something. "I'm not assisting you with that, Lyra." "Come on, why couldn't I have hands if an Ursa does?" This was fascinating, and Ino was the first to speak. "Pardon me, what are you two talking about?" When Bon Bon said, "My friend Lyra is trying to get me to help her build some hands like an Ursa's for her to use," the two cocked their heads. "What is an Ursa?" "I assume that has anything to do with the town's physical damage." The Maras nodded when asked. When Lyra told them, her partner slapped her face. "Yeah, an Ursa miner came through earlier and messed up a bit of the town, but its hands are what I focused on. It was able to grab things without magic, just like human," she said. "Sorry about Lyra. She tends to focus on things involving hands and humans." "Come on, Bon. Maybe they'll want to help me with it." "How about people?" When to ask the wrong question, Lyra turned to him robotically, and Bon Bon gave him a horrified yet sympathetic expression. "Are you aware of humans?" As she approached the blonde, the mint mare questioned slowly. "Yes, but why are you asking?" Uncertain if he should have spoken, Naruto told her. Lyra took hold of his shirt hem and pulled him in the direction of nearby houses. "I apologize for her. Your companion has been enmeshed in Lyra's human fascination, but I can take you there. My name is Sweetie Drops. What is yours?" As they followed Lyra's trail, the mare inquired. "I'm Ino Yamanaka, and he's Naruto Uzumaki. Lyra said as the two were walking down the street. She had dragged Naruto into what was probably her home and seated him on a chair. She then used her magic to open a book on the table and revealed anatomical drawings of two identical people with no facial features or reproductive organs. The groins were covered with a penciled question mark. "You have witnessed creatures that resemble this, correct?" Lyra asked him, gesturing to the sketches of the males' chests. Naruto told her, "Yeah, I have. Let me try something I've been thinking about." As he made his way to a clearing in the room and began directing the core energy from his cutie mark into his necklace and hooves, he felt his height change to human height as a cloud of smoke surrounded him, but he did not look like himself after the smoke cleared. "Wow! Are you a person?" As she walked up to the humanoid form, Lyra inquired. His orange fur covered his body in place of his tan skin, highlighting his horn more dramatically. He had all 10 fingers and toes, but his tail and equine face with 3 whisker marks on it were the same. As her horn blazed and her magic encircled his hands and held them in front of her face, the mid-mare said, "I should be, but something didn't go right," without seeming to care. "All right, Lyra, can you?" The beige pony trailed off as she led Ino into the house and saw Lyra with her face closely examining Naruto's hands. "Look, Bon! Hands!" As she dragged Naruto over to them and placed the hands in front of their faces, Lyra screamed. "Is this a human, then?" WOW.AS Ino shut the door behind them, and Sweetie Drops inspected his hands. She inquired. Naruto declared, "Not quite. Let me try again." As he made the hand sign this time and directed his blue and scarlet energy into his palms to create a smoke cloud. This time, the blonde with shaggy hair, tan complexion, and a more hidden horn encircled by his blonde mane. With him in his human shape, Lyra said, "This is a human, at least to my knowledge," and swiftly levitated the book and pencil to her, where she started writing. "I have a lot of inquiries, such as what you eat. How well versed in anatomy are you in ponies? Do you also have wings, or do all humans have horns? What is the sensation of having hands like?" Lyra fired off as she kept getting closer, the book trailing behind her. It depends. Fairly close. No, most don't. And pretty good, I think." Naruto tried to keep track of her questions as best as he could, while she violently jotted down everything. "Excellent. What anatomical differences exist between humans and stallions, then?" When Lyra asked him, the 3 of them blushed violently. Lyra heartstring. "It's for medical reasons." "Not yet." Instead of responding, Naruto found himself encircled by smoke. This time, the mint-colored horse asked him, "Fine then, what are the difference between male and female humans?" The blonde was more feminine, sporting 2 pigtails and 2 prominent bulges in her upper breast. Not caring about Ino's remark, Lyra started filling in the immediately apparent modifications right away. "Darn it, Naruto, I thought you'd stop using that stupid technique," she said. Behind her, Ino appeared awestruck by her ability to record, while Sweetie Drops went to the kitchen and began getting drinks. Smaller waist, slimmer physique, narrower shoulders, smaller face, and mammaries on chest. So humans only have 1 set then. Interesting. The mare added to her sketches. With a feminine tone, Naruto inquired, "Is there anything else you need from me aside from nudity?" Demonstrating that the alteration went beyond appearances and extended to his vocal cords and skeletal structure. Lyra's comment made him to blush, so Ino chose to respond by discussing the specifics of females. "Not much. How long does it take for humans to give birth, and are there any things related to birth?" Naruto murmured. Geez, that sounds unpleasant, as he galloped out of the cloud in his equine form while she was encircled by smoke. Ino agreed with him. Yeah, it's unpleasant, before turning to face the green pony and examining the book sketches. The first person's shoulders and arms were slightly enlarged, and his legs were more defined. The second figure had been reduced in a few places, with the chest being larger and the face narrower. As Ino sat at the table and Sweetie Drops placed a tray of 4 sweetened iced teas, Lyra said to him, Incredible, I've been looking for information about humans, and you just gave me so much? Could you show me that spell? Lyra placed the book and pencil on the table and pressed her hoof against her. She felt a rush of energy go through her body, followed by a sudden change in height. Naruto said, I don't think I can teach you, but I've got something that could work, as he held his hoof out to her, with the crimson and blue light flowing off it. Lyra! Sweetie Drops trailed off as she saw the changed mare. Her hair and skin tone were the same, but her face was smaller than before, and her horn was still prominently displayed on her forehead. She was also naked, revealing her modest chest and private areas. The changed horse knelt down and seized his shirt, exposing herself, saying, I have hands! This is incredible! Look at my hands! They're not like my legs, and I still have my horn. What did you do? The blonde admitted to her, trying not to look at her eye-level swimsuit area. I use core energy, which humans where I'm from can use, to transform you into what you'd likely look like as a human. I'm not sure how long it'll last, but I assume it'll last a while. Not sure exactly, he said. The naked figure was covered in a cloud of smoke, and it cleared to reveal her wearing a mint green replica of Ino's dress without the headband belt. Naruto, do something about her clothes. Don't leave her naked, Ino told him, blushing. Thanks to Naruto and Ino, I'm going to enjoy this and get as much time as I can out of it, Lyra said, grabbing the 2 and placing them outside the door. A lock then clicked. In an attempt to forget the new girl they had just seen, Ino questioned him. All right, Naruto, so where are we going now? Naruto halted his conversation and pressed his hoof against the side of his head. I'd say we should keep heading towards the library, but it's pretty late, and they'd probably dash. Naruto? Sorry, some of the clones I left had popped. It's a bit of a head rush getting those memories at once, Naruto said to Ino. The platinum blonde said, So your clones are physical and give you the memories back? That is pretty powerful and kinda cheaty, which made him grin and massage the back of his head. Naruto grinned and said, Yeah, I'll show you the technique when we get home. MS Muffin, please, I need that back. Emma get muffin with it. You can't, Rose, please help me. Ino questioned, What's going on? As she saw a gray Pegasus soaring on a black cloud with a blue and gold screwdriver in her mouth, being pursued by a pale yellow pony with a raspberry-colored mane and a brown pony with a white collar and green bow tie. MS, Muffin, please. Muffin! As they watched the pony fly across the town, Ino questioned Naruto, Is this usual? 2 very different Maras stood behind them. One had a light gray coat with a dark gray mane and a purple treble clef mark, and the other had a very pale yellow coat with dark blue hair and light blue streaks. She wore violet lens glasses and had 2 eighth note marks on her back. If Derpy's involved, then yes, a female said from behind them, causing the platinum blonde and the sun-kissed blonde to turn around. As Naruto observed the mare launch a lightning bolt from the cloud's base, he questioned, She's Derpy? The gray mare said. Yes, Ditsy Do, also known as Derpy, is quite the character. She keeps us on our toes with things like this. I feel bad for the doctor because he usually gets involved in her things. And the yellow mare agreed. Thank you. The Maras appeared to understand. The gray pony questioned them skeptically. My name is Octavia Melody, and she is Vinyl Scratch. Are you two visiting from Canterlot? I don't remember seeing you around much. Naruto's question appeared to activate a pink heat-seeking missile on a collision course with him. No, we're not from Canterlot. Just visiting, looking around. Have you seen Pinkie Pie? I want my friend to meet her, he said. Naruto bowed as a pink blur landed on his back and two arms wrapped around his neck. He could see a pink cloud of hair hanging down and partially obstructing his vision. Knowing that no more conversation would be had, Tavia and Vinyl left the group. Naruto said, Hello, Ino meet Pinkie Pie. Pinkie meet Ino. She's from my hometown. As she leaped from his back and began vigorously shaking Ino's hoof. Before turning to face the blonde, the pink pony said, Hi, Ino, I'm Pinkie. It's nice to meet one of Naruto's friends. So too, now we can celebrate your welcoming party. Naruto told her, Thank you, Pinkie, but I'm not sure how long me and Ino could stay, so we'll just have to have a small party. Pinkie appeared briefly upset, but soon recovered her upbeat attitude. With her attention on the party, Ino leaned near her fellow blonde. That's okay, we can still have the bestest party. Follow me to Sugar Cube Corner, I always have a party set up there. Pinkie assured them, as she began to hop towards a building that looked like a gingerbread home. They followed Jiraiya inside the building and up the stairs, whispering, What's with the time limit? Jiraiya isn't expecting us back at any time. Because she's nice. I like spending time with her, Ino said, perplexed, but before she could question, Pinkie opened a door covered in party materials. The room was filled with a stairway with licorice railings, multiple candy cane pillars, and tables of confetti boxes, to mention a few items. As Pinkie attempted to flee her chamber, Naruto stopped her path. Welcome to Pinkie's party bedroom, she said. Stay here and I'll grab some other ponies, and we can start this party. How about we just celebrate with the three of us? I'd prefer a small party. As she vanished down the stairs, Pinkie said to them, Okay, then I'll just go downstairs and whip up a couple of back in a jiff. As soon as the pink pony disappeared from view, Ino said to him, Okay, Naruto, what the hell were you talking about? You like spending time with her, but you also don't. Because people who get close to me don't last long, I found out that my parent died because of me, and someone I called my friend bled out in front of me. I watched their life fade from their eyes while I was helpless to do anything. If she gets too close to me, then she'll end up like the rest, Naruto told her as silence enveloped the space. Pinkie interrupted it by bringing a platter of cupcakes and other delicacies into the room. As she sat down to eat, a green gator with purple eyes. I hope you don't mind me bringing my pet gummy. The party began when she arrived, and they talked about a variety of personal interests, such as Ino and Naruto's interest in botany or Pinkie's love of baking. As the conversation went on, Ino discovered a number of things about Naruto that she had not noticed before. After some time, she heard him laugh, and this time, it sounded more natural and relaxed than the laugh she had heard in the village. His posture was also relaxed, and didn't resemble the military-ready blonde she had seen earlier. The two left the building after a few hours of partying, and started to stroll down an empty street. The majority of the debris that had previously been there had been cleared away, leaving them essentially alone. Ino said to the mute blonde, who was trotting next to her, Or do you want to talk about it? I mean, it isn't healthy to bottle up your emotions. My dad could help you out if you want to. Fine. Do you remember when my team was sent on our first C-rank mission? Ino replied. Well, it wasn't until we were outside the walls that we noticed something was off. After they met in the woods and talked about their relationships, families, and bonding, Naruto started telling her about the battle with Zabuza and their encounter with Haku. He finally revealed that he knew who she was, and about their fight the next day. I saw her again on the bridge, with Sakura shielding the bridge builder and Sasuke supporting me. I was able to stop her, and it appeared that there was no way out of this situation until Kakashi used his Raikiri blade to strike Zabuza's heart. I could see Haku trying to block it, so I tried to stop her, but I was too slow, and I saw his lightning-coated hand pierce her chest. I ran to her and held her in my arms as she passed away. Soon after, the despotic Gato showed up and said something terrible. Did I say only red? Naruto concluded, looking at the ground. I don't know how long it took, but when the fog cleared, I was surrounded by corpses and blood. Zabuza was lying holding Haku, and I had his blood-stained weapon in my hand. Ino, appalled by the tale, asked him, What? Naruto, you need help. Why didn't your teacher tell the Hokage or my father? Or you try to seek help? He pretended that nothing had happened during the chunin exam despite having blood on his hands for someone her age. Kakashi has his attention fixed on Sasuke and barely focused on me, so why would he help me? And I couldn't go talk to them myself. The Hokage is constantly busy and I can barely enter the office. I couldn't tell the council I'm traumatized by what I saw or did because they'll think I'm unstable and send me away. Why do you think I align myself with the Hachikyu-san? 893. I'm terrified that at night someone will break in and try to kill me. Me and Gaara are burdened with a power which makes us Jinchuriki. We're the power of human sacrifice, muttered as he avoided looking to Ino. Instead of arguing with him, Ino simply nodded. Ino, we should head back now. We should be well rested for our search for Tsunade, she said. The orange, blue, and red light formed a pair of transparent on his hoofs and spread to her connected hoof. I Inu Tori Saru Tora, the two said as they disappeared into the smoke, leaving the street largely deserted save for a pink ponytail with somewhat flat hair that leaned to her right. Inside Tanzakagai's stone walls, close to the castle's base, Ino and Naruto emerged in a cloud of smoke. Before he left, Naruto made a clone to bring Ino back. Jiraiya is at the Kuna Token Hotel in room 217. It's pretty late, so go and sleep. I'm taking a walk, Naruto said. Naruto made the Inu, eye, and Hitsuji hand signals as he made his way to the town center. His shirt and vest turned dark gray, and half of his hair turned black. His eyes turned dark blue, and his whiskers became blurry. A simple bar stood on the left side of the deserted street, and when he walked in, it was largely deserted except for a drunk who was unconscious in the corner, the bartender, and a blonde with a ponytail sitting at the counter. Before turning to face the young girl on his right, who was wearing a green kimono with dull red accents and dark red wrappings on her forearms, he took the vacant seat next to the blonde and motioned for a round. Her hazel eyes appeared to search his face before tensing up at his headband. Naruto told her, I don't care who you are, girlie, I'm just getting a drink, as the bartender delivered them 2 cups of sake. As he downed the drink, the girl inquired, Aren't you a little young to be drinking? Naruto murmured, Old enough to drink, old enough to die. I'd say the same about you, but I want to drink and I can pay for it too. As he took a little rectangular plate measuring 15 by 5 by 1 centimeter of gold out of his rucksack and set it on the counter. As his cup was quickly filled and drained, Naruto said, "This'll cover all my rounds and hers, so what's your name? If we're drinking, then I should know your name." Choosing to just accept the bottle. As she drained her own cup, the girl clarified, "It's Tsunade, no relation to the Senju." As he pounded back the bottle, Naruto asked, "Senju? Right, you wouldn't happen to know where I could find her, do ya?" And replaced it with a new one. Tsunade responded, "No, why is a Hyde village ninja searching for her? You guys never did before." As a slight flush crept across her face. Naruto chuckled before accepting another jug from the bartender and polishing off the bottle. "I'm looking for her to go to the hospital and help out. My friend's hurt, and I've been shot up with either too much or too little of the chemicals I needed. I say screw it, I've reset my own bone, and who needs a checkup?" "You need to go to the hospital. How old are you, kid? This isn't healthy." The blonde reminded him gravely, adding that it was bad for anyone to have misgivings about the hospital. Naruto ignored her worry with a second bottle after the first, saying, "Bah, I've been fine for years." Tsunade asked him, her slight flush gone, "This is serious. You're endangering your future and health. At least let me look at you." Naruto said, "I'm fine, but if you really want, then play me a Chohan," while he produced an ivory cup containing 2 six-sided dice. "What's the stakes?" Naruto began rolling the dice around the cup and said, "I'll keep it simple. You win and I'll get a checkup. I win, and you'll owe me a favor." "All right, call it even," Naruto said. "Odds," slamming the cup against the counter and carefully opening it. Before the number appeared, he scooped the dice into his backpack and gave her a quick peck on the cheek. As he ran out of the bar, the teenager said to her, "I guess you'll have to find me later. Tsunade, name's Naruto, and good luck finding me, ha ha ha." A shoulder-length woman with black hair and a clothed pig in her arms then came in. As she dug into a purse to retrieve the cash, the woman said to the bartender, "Lady Tsunade, please don't run off again. I'm sorry, sir. How much did she drink?" The booze dispenser said, "Don't worry about it. Some kid came by and paid for his and her rounds. So take your kid and go. She shouldn't be up this late." As he scooped up the 2 cups. "Yeah, some cheeky kid named her paid for the round." As Shizen escorted her out of the building, she addressed her teacher. "Well, wasn't that nice, Lady Tsunade?" As they made their way to their hotel room, the petite woman gave her instructions. "Yeah, but he made me a bet, and I didn't see how the game ended. We're looking for him later." With his bag, shirt, and vest neatly folded beneath a tree, Naruto stood outside the town staring at numerous copies of himself. Each copy raced toward him with either their fists readied or a knife in the reverse grip, as I silently beckoned them to do so. They exploded as he stopped the initial fist and stabbed his clone with the other clone's coming knife. He swiftly turned to seize the other clone's arm and pressed down on the elbow, causing it to burst into a cloud of smoke. The original reached back to grab the copy's head and threw him into the 3, destroying them with the force, while a second leaped out and held him in a standing Nelson, while 3 others charged at him and delivered a flurry of quick punches. A clone used the smoke to fire his knife, leaving a gash that was bleeding down his arm. A clone dropped from the canopy with a knife aimed at his throat. He immediately grabbed his duplicate and twisted his neck almost all the way around, causing him to explode into smoke. By this point, the cut had sealed shut, and the arm was covered in dried blood. Naruto kicked the clone away, used the weapon to viciously backhand a clone to death with a spike, and parried a throat shot with a protrusion. By this point, A good number of the clones had been destroyed, but many were still there, like the ones that rushed him from every direction. The weapon in Naruto's hand vanished as he used a spinning roundhouse kick to break the clone's neck. Naruto then sprayed blood at the clone's eyes through the hole in his palm. A replica performed a running slide between his legs and cut the calf, but he didn't go very far before Naruto placed his knee on his throat and annihilated the clone. A number of them were blinded and swiftly killed by a punch shattering their neck. Before any clones could move, the ball exploded in destructive jets of air, slashing their bodies and the trees. "Let's try this," Naruto mumbled as he extended his hand and gradually created a howling ball in his palm. Unaffected by the method, Naruto ran his palm over the deep pits that covered his body. Each one slowly closed itself, leaving his front stained with dried blood streams and trails. After gathering his things, he went through the forest and placed them next to a creek on the shore. He then jumped into the rushing water and began cleaning the blood off of himself. Nix mumbled in his head, "You know, cleaning usually works better when you're naked," which made him lurch in the water. As he worked the blood from his arms and partially colored the water a dull scarlet, the partially blonde thought, "Hello, Nix. It's been pretty quiet without someone else's voice in my head." The Kyuubi continued, laughing in its bass-heavy voice. "Well, your adventure in her land is quite fascinating to say the least." As he worked into the ripped places in his jeans and began wiping his wounded legs, Naruto continued, "It is. I've never had a party quite that entertaining in Hyde Village, or in general." "Well, from what I saw from your memories, humans are quite dull. They are quite arrogant despite all their shortcomings. Ponies are not without their faults as well, yet humans seem to embody theirs to an astonishing degree. Those from Hyde Village and Wrath, that pervert with his longing and lust, that serpent Orochimaru and his desires. While they are fine alone, your people are embroiled in them," Nick said as Naruto began to clean his chest while keeping his hand on it. The general populace of Suna and Hyde Village, Haku's father, and others agree that humans are a violent race. However, I am a Chiraku and her father, as well as Hinata. The nightmare told him, "That can apply to many races. Hopefully you will see some of them next time you visit Equestria," as he climbed out of the water and changed into his clean clothes. As he stuffed the vest into the backpack, Naruto said, "I'll try, but I'll have to get the Rasengan down. How should I work on it? I need to work on the shell, but I'm not sure when to start." "The Rasengan is a knockoff of my Baijidama tail beast ball. Focus on the shape of it first, then fill it in. You don't fill the balloon without having the balloon." He began creating hollow balls of energy and filling them up with a swirling torrent of core energy after receiving a clear instruction rather than a hazy sketch.